Welcome back, everybody. It's time for us to grab our gear, run into life with a couple of world class runners here, Caren Ware and her guest. Welcome, Caren. Welcome back.
Well, I'm in the business of running around and running around the world and kind of running ragged and putting on running races. So I've run into Nadia, and I'm going to let her introduce herself because she's just a beautiful lady with a beautiful story and just actively living an active life. So Nadia, take it over and introduce yourself. Tell people why you run and how you make running, actually be a living and a business for you.
My name is Nadia Ruiz. I am born and raised in LA. I come from an immigrant family. We're from Ecuador, and I've been running for about 30 years, and I've been coaching for 20 years. And so my role now in life is I'm an educator, I'm a coach, I'm an athlete. I passionately do what I love every single day. I think it's a beautiful gift to move. It's a beautiful gift to wake up excited to work towards your passions, and that's I think for me is work and play. It's not just only work and it's not only play, but I think it's a nice, good combination of both, and that's kind of where I have grown into who I am today.
And so I'm super excited to bring her on today because she has a passion that she's always wanted to do. And she's going to tell you, I'm going to let her tell you all the things that she's done because she's run a lot of marathons, a lot of races around the world and here in the United States. But she has a super big passion to do which race coming up?
The big project that we're currently working on right now is the Everest Marathon. And so it is named the highest marathon in the world. You run it at 17,598 feet altitude. And so I have for the probably past 15 years have Googled and internet and researched what are the top 10, 15 toughest marathons around the world. And just at that distance, I mean, I do love ultras. I love adventure races. I love all types of distances. As I've been running for 30 years, I've been exploring different types of races. But the marathon distance is very special, and so those lists that I've come across are pretty interesting, and of course they're very subjective. As you can see, like it could be the coldest, it could be the highest, it could be the most beautiful, it could be the most gain, whatever challenge there is out there. But Everest Marathon, Everest itself has a huge name to it. It has history. It has just lure. I mean, for me, it is the highest point in the world. It is the most beautiful unknown place in the world, and only very few see it. I think that's the beauty of it. Is like I want to see it with my own eyes. I want to feel what I want to feel, and go through the journey of arriving there and racing there. So that is the current project right now that we are working on.
And the project, honestly, to get to Everest is a little bit of a mountain in itself. It involves a lot of just, travel halfway around the world into another new world that doesn't have transportation. So your only transportation is your legs that are trekking you. And it's how many miles have you found that it's round trip?
80 miles. So this was, like you said, it was researching every little detail that I could. Once said I committed that this is going to be the year that I'm going to go after it. It's budgeting, it's research, it's preparing, it's training, and it doesn't stop. It really doesn't stop, and it is my waking thought every moment I wake up and go to sleep. Like I need to make sure I stay healthy, make sure I stay injury free, make sure I am still balancing all the responsibilities that I need to in life. And I started my research like deep dive, like November, December, just digging everything. And that was the biggest thing that I discovered was you don't just show up and run a marathon at 17,500 feet, which is already itself insane. If people run at 5,000 feet out in Denver, they're like, oh, it's hard to breathe. If people run in Leadville, which is 10,000 feet out, people are like, this is something unreal. So we are like almost doubling, tripling that altitude. And so that means we significantly are reducing the pressure that's coming into our lungs from oxygen and it makes it much more difficult to actually race at that level, move at that level, and be functional at that level. And so the biggest thing I found out was like, you can't just show up at the starting line and then go race it. You actually have to get yourself there healthy, and you have to trek 40 miles to get there. And you're not just walking 40 miles. You are going from 9,000 feet altitude to the most dangerous airport, from the most dangerous airport in Lukla, and you climb to 17,500. And I was like, wow, it just keeps coming. The challenges that you have to overcome, and they're avoiding food poisoning. What are you going to be eating while you're doing those 40 miles as you get to that starting line, so that you can race when you get to the starting line? Every little thing, and understanding that we are going to be in a different culture, a different country, a different way of life, and thankfully, I have exposed myself to traveling since I was very young. I became very passionate about it, and learning from people, learning and having conversations in real life. And I took my first international trip by myself. I believe I was 12 years old. I went to go visit an aunt in Canada, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. I got to like travel by myself. And then when I was 15, 16, that's typically when Latino families usually have like quinceañeras. And I told my family, like, I don't want a quinceañera. I want to go to Europe. I want to go to London. There is a school sponsored trip that I want to take a week vacation, and going again by myself. No parents, no family, just exploring all the plays and the restaurants and Stonehenge. And I was like, this is beautiful. Something that you take yourself out of your comfort zone. You take yourself out of your bubble. I think that's the biggest thing. Is this is again pre social media, pre like internet being kind of widespread. I mean, I'm talking about probably this is like the late 90s. So I just realized like this is what I want to do. I want to explore the world, and I feel like I can learn a lot about myself, about others, acceptance, respect, beyond tolerance. I think right now we're at probably in a difficult phase in our world where we're just tolerating things, and if we just learn more about other people and open your mind and your heart, then it's not about tolerance. It's more about respect and mutual.
And this is why I'm so excited about Nadia too, because I can predate her. I'm 20 years probably her senior. And back in the day, they used to have door-to-door salespeople that would come, and my mom bought an encyclopedia, but she could only afford one book every month. And so a new book would come, and I just poured through it, the A's, the B's, and in the H's were the Himalayas. And there's a people they still don't have vehicle traffic, and spellbound. I've been spellbound about the Nepalese, if you say it, I don't even know if I say it right, but the Nepali people and just their way of life and who they are. And it's been a super privilege, in addition to the running, I think, is an excuse to get there. And then the experience is it's the medal, the experience, around your neck. So I'm excited.
Can I interrupt? I'm listening to this conversation and I'm wondering, how long does it take to get there? Karen's done this event before. And then she had a couple people, just ordinary women from here in Orange County, that got inspired by her journey, and they went last year and talked about it. And it takes like days to even get there, right?
So we're accelerating that trip.
Yes.
We're like, because she's such a super athlete, and she can tell you too that she, flew to Africa and did Kilimanjaro, not in a few days, in a day. She went from top to bottom.
What?
And
Wow.
that's a almost 20,000 foot, mountain. We're talking true athleticism here, but also wisdom. And wisdom in the trekking in the Himalayas is you acclimate as you go. You climb above a certain elevation.
So from the
and go
day you
back.
leave to the day this starts, it's not like a day or two. It's like a week or something.
Yeah, it's
think
a
the
half a
average-
month commitment.
Yeah,
Just-
on average, what I was researching is most people will do the Everest Base Camp trek in 2 weeks. And I mean, it can get as low as 12 days, but it's usually like 14 days. And some go as long as 19 days. And for me, I'm like, I don't want to go that long. I'd like to see how hard can I push myself? How
So she's
how fast
pushing
can
that.
I go? And I mean, I wanted to go for a day too. And it's like in my head, it's easy to think for ultra runners, for maybe advanced athletes, and say I could do 40 miles in a day, not a problem. However, it's the altitude. The altitude is, and the trek that's going to be very unique. It's not just you're running through the Sierra Nevadas, or you're running through Colorado Rockies, or you're not running through the Swiss Alps. And these are things that I have done in the past, and I know how challenging they are, and I've done my fair share of ultras. However, altitude is just a different type of beast.
So I'm super excited because we're sending her with my village. We're sending her with my guide Sudup and his relatives and people that he knows, to make sure that she gets there in this athletic form. And so that's super, super exciting to me. And I'm going to tag along and race after her, because I'm racing through the villages to bring the supplies that we've earned with the proceeds with Caren Ware events over this past year. And I'm excited to do it in person, not just blindly send it, which you really can't in a foreign country. If you send a box of goods there, the government opens it, takes anything that's good out of it, and taxes them for that box more than what the contents are worth. And so we're bringing extra suitcases, and she's willing to give up one of her suitcases spaces, and there we go. But here's the deal. It takes 2 solid days, because you lose a day going there, flying, And we have a lot of things happening in our open airspace right now in the world, and so we had to be take what was out there to get
Can't
there.
be easy in today's
No,
restricted airspaces
no.
these days. Wars going on in the Middle East and whatnot to fly through. Because you used to go through like Dubai, but that's closed now here, or
Yeah,
not
so
as
we're you have
available as it
to
was.
we're being asked the U.S. is asking that you not fly through Dubai or the Emirates or
Anywhere near the
Qatar,
conflict,
yeah,
right?
and
Yeah.
um, and and so it pushes you into Turkey or pushes you into Hong Kong, and there weren't that many flights left, and we had to both make that da 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 boom, push the we're going, and at whatever price,
And
whatever
this is
it
what, in May
takes.
you're going to do this or
And we're going
something?
to do it. We're going to leave, May 17th, and we looked at the flight, and it has an hour and 10 minute what do you call it?
Connection.
Connection
In Turkey.
in Turkey, Istanbul.
What can go wrong there?
Yeah, so we just want to get you all prepped to kind of follow along on how this is going to go from there to Kathmandu to a flight to
And then you get there
Lukla.
after a couple of days and all this 24 hours in the air, whatever it is. And then you got it. You're already, I would think your body is discombobulated from the time zones and the travel. And you start trekking up six,
Well,
eight, ten
first you
thousand
have to
feet or
get
something
from
over 2 weeks.
Kathmandu to Lukla, which is the village that the Everest Marathon Trek route
Yeah.
takes, and that's dependent on wind conditions and fog and whether you take a helicopter or you fly in, and it's the world's shortest airport, and it's almost like a cartoon.
Because it's on the top of a mountain.
No,
and
it's like in the middle of the mid mountain. And so when you go to stop, you better stop because you're going to hit that mountain. And then they have it on a uphill grade. So when you stop, you're like a cartoon. And all of a sudden everyone kind of giggles. It's like that feeling of, wow, that
So
was.
can I ask you to the obvious question everybody's asking as they listen to this? We failed to say that Nadia has set a world record. You did what? You're the youngest person to run 100 marathons. Was that? Did I get that right?
Yes, I was the one. Yeah, I was the youngest female to run 100 marathons world record back in 2013, and at the time I was 28 years old. So since then, the world record has been broken a couple times, but it was very special to be able to do that, and not only just to do it as a female, but as a Latina coming from an immigrant family, and I didn't grow up with money, a very 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 humble background. So in order to actually register for races, back then and do them, I did them all on a teacher's salary. My background is actually in high school biology education. I taught high school biology for 10 years. So that was just my passion to live life to the fullest. And whatever your starting point is, if you do have disadvantages, and don't let that ever to stop you and break you from going after your dreams. And so my dream was, how can I find the extraordinary version of myself? And that was my extraordinary version of myself then. And the beautiful thing is that it continuously evolves as we get older, as we go into new decades of our lives or new different stages of our lives. It's always the opportunity to explore what can be extraordinary, what is a full life, what brings me joy every time I wake
So
up.
if you get to go to her, she'll tell you what her what do you call it, Instagram and her media channels are and stuff. But she recently purchased a property in the mountains, and she's living the mountain and the sea life, and the mountain, the city, and the sea.
You're both up
yeah,
in the mountains
we're
there
both
somewhere.
on the
Yeah.
same journey because it just opens up a whole bunch of outdoor activity. Blue sky and rain and snow and all kinds of elements that we've developed the confidence to be able to handle because we've put ourselves out there in these physical activities.
So the question I was getting to is everybody's listening saying, oh my God, I don't know if I could get up in the morning and run one of Karen's events to run a half
You better.
marathon. I don't even know if I can go a couple of miles. You guys are going long distances and even longer distances to get there. Why? What is it that drives you to? Karen talks about this all the time, this idea of just running into life. All the, like the logo shows, all this stuff coming at you. You can duck and cover, you can hunker down, or you can just get up and run into that. Is that what drives you guys there?
My original experience of going there was amazing, and that's why I just really am pushing it out there to give, if anyone has that passion and that seed of like, I want to try that, I want to go discover that part of the world. The biggest thing is the people I run into and the people I get to keep connected with, and I'm so willing to go back, even though it takes a journey. It takes boldness, it takes fortitude, and it takes a willingness.
And you got to push yourself to bound to the edge of what most people would think is possible. Is that it, Nadia? Is there something about going to the edge and then going beyond?
Yes, I mean, I just mentioned about like just exploring what it is to be to find your extraordinary version of yourself, but really it is like what fires you up. Like really when you wake up, what is the first thing you think about in the morning? What is the last thing you think about at night? And what really lights you up in the inside, that little fire? And I think it's important because we tell children all the time, like you could do whatever you want, follow your dreams, go after your passion. But as adults, we get into this routine and we forget those things that we told our children or we were told ourselves. And so it's I think it's important as adults to keep reminding ourselves like that fire might change, that what ignites us changes, and that's okay. Just keep chasing it because literally what do we have when it's our last moments of our lives? We're thinking about what are the memories that we created, what are the things that we were able to share with people that we love. That's the most meaningful thing.
So
And
speaking of that, speak a little bit about your father. You call him Papa or Papa Dog.
yeah, he's my papa
Yeah,
dog.
Papa Dog. She kept telling me about the Papa Dog, and then I got the fortunate privilege at Caren Ware events to meet him, and he inspired this. And you've been doing. Tell us about the LA Marathon. What you've been doing with your dad.
Yeah, so my running buddy, my hero, my inspiration is my dad, and he is right now 68 years old. He has been running 28 years. We've been both running 28 years together. We ran our first marathon. I was age 14 and he was 40 years old. It was in 1999. We lined up without any training, with complete ignorance on how to do it, like anything. We just said we're going to try it, we're going to do it, we're going to see how it goes. And it became a beautiful experience because at all in one race, it teaches you so much about yourself, but pain of joy, pain of actual physical pain. When we crossed that finish line, we were crying in tears, and it was just like, wow, this is amazing. It completely, truly transformed me. But I think the biggest thing is it transformed my way of thinking about myself. I think it really gave me a sense of empowerment of what else can I do, and I could do anything. It gives you that fire and that belief of I can do anything. And I learned that from my dad. He has such a mental fortitude that I have never seen in anyone else, and I admire it very much. And he's a hard-working man, very, very hard-working man. He's manual labor, an electrician by trade for over 40 years, but he also has a huge passion of running. And I think we just speak the same language. When we go do our races together, we get to just we get to fuel the athlete in us. I think when you find sport, when you find a movement that gives you so much therapy and so much release, you want to keep doing it because it helps you cope with life. It helps you just process emotions and setbacks and challenges that you have. And so I see that in my dad, and I've been able to apply it within myself, and we get to share this. I know I am very, very lucky. I am very grateful that I get to run with my dad now for 28 years. It isn't easy. I will say, me teaching myself patience, learning how to be an athlete in my teens, 20s, 30s, and now 40s is an evolving relationship. It's very difficult. I did not expect what I've been feeling in the last probably 7 years as an athlete, because I still feel my spirit is like in my early 20s. So that's what makes it very hard. Is like I want to keep going and going and going and going, and I understand that I'm going to have to keep evolving in that way. But having my dad, I get to kind of live the future through him because he started running in his 40s. And so seeing his body change and adapt, and he also struggles in the same way, but he doesn't vocalize it. I just see it and I know it. And I am very in touch with like and it hurts me sometimes to see the chronic pain that he has because he is in his late 60s, but he still loves running. He turns into a kid when he runs. And
So Paul was super. Paul that does the what do you call it? The Oz of the background voice. Paul Roberts from OC Talk
The Wizard
Radio.
of Oz who
Yeah,
joins
came
in.
to our races, and it was his first experience. And he started interviewing people. He was super surprised. He thought he was going to see all athletes, and he saw 80-year-olds, and he saw a few 90-year-olds, and we call our races the something for everybody. Everybody races for a reason. And even the last race that I just did, the little community rabbit run, I said, everyone stop. Everyone look around. Does it matter what age you are, what color you are, what culture you are, what size? No, everyone can come out here and just be together and enjoy just being active and choose your active. And if whether that be your active ends up forming into an athlete, and you can take that drive all the way to that point, or your active ends up being hey, I skipped and walked backwards, and I pushed my dog in the stroller, and we had a great time.
You've
So
had women that we've interviewed on the show who had a heart, had a pacemaker,
pacemaker, yeah,
pacemaker put in.
and hip replacement, and
And then one of the people I interviewed at your turkey trot, just in the crowd, was a guy who apparently taught running. He was a running coach at like Cypress College or someplace like that, and some local high schools. He had a stroke, and he still refuses. He obviously is impaired now here, doesn't run anymore, but gets out there and walks the whole course. What is it that gets you guys, once you start moving, that you can't stop moving? Because most of us can't start moving.
well, that's why I'm doing this podcast, and I'm so excited about. I really want you guys to follow Nadia's journey to the Everest Marathon, because we don't know what that's going to be. We don't know what to expect, but we're willing to go and do it. And so maybe for you, I have a lot of people that come up to me at races and said, "You inspired me. I found your book. I read a portion of Finding Fit, and I thought I'm going to just get out there and do that. I didn't think I could. I didn't think I was eligible. I didn't think that that I could be, active and just come out and walk it, or come out and just volunteer and just see the camaraderie. It's an excuse. We're just putting it out there. It's an excuse just to be active, and then we're trying to also let you know that there's amazing goals that you can set out there and just go grab one. And this is her goal.
So
and
when
it's gonna
you
be a
train
lofty
people,
one.
Nadia, is it mostly super fit people? You both look fit and, like I would expect sort of lean and fit looking type of thing here. Do people come to you that are overweight or struggling with some chronic disease and say, I just don't want to give into it. I want to be more than I think I can be, and you show them how? Is that
Yes, I have trained athletes of all different levels. I mean, I have youth athletes and maybe nationally ranked athletes, and maybe athletes that I'm training for their first Boston qualifier or their first sub 3. But I have athletes of all ages. Most of my athletes are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, because my philosophy and my coaching is I want to train the whole athlete. There's a mindset, there's nutrition, there's recovery, there's a wholesome way to treat our athletic lifestyle. And if we're treating our athletics lifestyle as athletes as we should, we are actually also improving our health, our overall health. And so there are people from all walks of life, and whether they're training for their first marathon, some of my most inspirational stories are if they pick up running only in their 50s or 60s and they do their first marathon, and then they do it strong and healthy. That is my biggest goal, is I want you to teach you how to move properly, because it's not just about putting miles in. It's not just about doing workouts, because to be completely honest, if people think that potentially like coaching is dying or it's going to be dead pretty soon because of AI, but it's like, it's no, because really what it is, it's the relationship that you develop with the athlete and coach. And if you think about your greatest mentors in your life, your greatest coaches in your life, it's what you learn from them, and it's a connection that you have with them, and you are gaining all of their wisdom within you. It's almost like a shortcut. And you learn how to navigate through your own body and move well in your own body. And so it's all levels, completely all levels. I mean, I've trained women before and after pregnancies. I've trained women coming with diabetes and even getting off of their meds. And so those are big wins for me. I love to see the transformation in lifestyle that they get to do when they pursue these running goals. And that's why running is just simply a megaphone that allows me to pass along my message. It's a platform for me, but really what my passion is healthy living. I really want people to adopt a lifestyle of healthy mindset.
And I'm so excited for you guys to be able to watch her take this goal of running the Everest Marathon, just because it combines all those things. It combines the sense of adventure. It combines, going someplace, but seeing how you can, keep healthy and stay healthy, and all those fun, amazing things.
talk about what it means to the people there, because this is their livelihood.
Thank you for bringing that up. They are
You had one of
amazing.
your, I guess it was the guy from Kilimanjaro that you still stay in contact with,
Yes.
or whatever. And somehow we did a Zoom call with him. Amazing.
Yes.
He's up in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
And he said this is how they sustain themselves.
Yes, and so that was EPA, and you're going to see I'm going to push that in 2027. I'm going back to Kilimanjaro, and we're going to run the Kilimanjaro Marathon. We're going to bring supplies to his village, and we're going to put a little running race on for all the youth to inspire are trying, for them it's inspiration to be able to run because any
Because you
kid
were
can do it.
moved enough. I mean, you went there to push yourself. You weren't thinking to meet people, but you were so moved by the people you met that you felt committed to somehow give back and to continue to stay connected to them.
Somewhat, but I want to say that I always, push. My mom has influenced me, like her dad influenced her, that she put the word care in my name with the Caren with the C, and I do go there not just to experience a marathon and write it off as a bucket list, but to really and see what the people are like, and I think because I have that heart and it's a genuine one, they really do latch onto that and are are blessed by someone coming in and really caring about who they are and what their culture is. And so I have not been able to return for 2 years. This will be the third year. The baby that we
To the
helped,
Everest one,
yeah,
yeah.
to the villages. And so now we've got a 3-year-old toddler in a village that I get to meet, that we helped bring doctors in that when that baby is delivered, and I get to see them, and we interact with them on social media, and they get to share our lives here as we share our lives with them, and that's just amazing.
Have you experienced that, Nadia, as you run around the world? You said you're a Latina, you're a woman who didn't come from an affluent background here, and now you're going to these other third world countries, and are you doing there just to take advantage of the opportunity, the mountain there and the challenge there, or do you stop and meet the people and connect with them?
That's a big part of it. That's a huge part of it. I think if we want to do a challenging marathon, we could do neighboring states. We've got some really high altitude, maybe not 17,000 feet, but pretty close to 14,000. And so it is about immersing yourself in the culture and connecting with the people. And then I think we just personally want to go and help and provide supplies however we can, because it is much more helpful to do it in person. We can potentially just send donations and send money, but when you get to be on the ground and helping, and I think this also comes back from for me in college, I was doing missionary work. I was doing pre-med missionary work, and going deep into like villages in Nicaragua and Costa Rica, and where the doctors that we were working with, they would do pro bono stuff, and I would take triage, and I was just like, these people are crossing 2 hours on foot, 3 hours on foot to get a basic just dental care, just a checkup, or get a toothbrush, get some toothpaste. And it was that humbleness and that big smile of gratitude. And so I know exactly what Caren is talking about when she says she sees the happiness that she can bring, because it's so genuine and so deep. So I was able to be exposed to that very early on in my early 20s, and I just thought it was so beautiful. And I was like, this is where I want to help these people. I want to help the people that need the help the most, and maybe sometimes aren't spoken of or forgotten, because there is a great need around the world.
And I was so impressed. I met Nadia at her new home in the mountains and said, "Hey, let's jump in a car. Let's drive to Big Bear. Let's go to the Himalayan
let's
restaurant.
run."
Yeah, let's run." We did. We ran the sunset run. It was the one day that the sunset was clouded by clouds, and it didn't do its spectacular thing. And the next day it was like out there. But anyway, it was. We ran the sunset trail, and then we drove all the way to Big Bear just to go to a Himalayan restaurant, just to seal the opportunity.
There's a Himalayan restaurant
There's a Himalayan
restaurant
in Big Bear, and they're all from Kathmandu in Nepal. There's Everest Momo Shack in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. They're Sherpas. Their last name is Sherpa. If their last 3 villages before you get to Everest. And there's people to run into here in the United States that are working their hearts out, because they are, first generation immigrants here, and they're being able to provide things for their families back there. And so it's such a neat, cultural crossover.
So is this a way for people to meet, not just across different age groups or a different socioeconomic groups? Everybody's the same when they're out on the course, but is this a way, am I making too much of this metaphor of for Americans to get out of their life and go experience the world and understand the world differently? I keep thinking if we did that, maybe we'd have, maybe I'm an old hippie here too, less wars and stuff here, if we got to know each other and really experience each other, and not just take the travel tour bus here as we
So
zip
I went
through
to
the
one of
country.
the highest villages that are working villages that are on the low end, and their oldest grandfather, or the grandfather of the village, it made everyone come together, and he said that this is the biggest privilege that he's gotten to have in his life is to meet an American, and he brought everyone together, and he said in their language, and they interpreted it, that I just want to thank you, America, for being who you are and who the freedom that you stand for, because in the world wars, the First World War and the Second World War, other countries would have come in and invaded us, and you've let us be a free country, and I'm a rich man because this is my family now. This is my land that I get to,
And what country was this in?
In Nepal. In Nepal. And so, who would have known that, our influence. So they love, I think that if you put yourself on a path out there, you're going to actually, run across all kinds of international people, and then you're going to run across the people that, are hardworking from there.
Well, it seems like you're kindred spirits, and you were bound to run into each other here.
Well, that's what I was
just
going to
'cause
say
you
when we took the drive, and I knocked on her new home up in the mountains, and I go and look at her smile. I don't know if you're
You just
watching
walked
it,
up to her house and knocked on the door and said, "Hi."
And if I knew it, I invited myself, and I said, I'm inviting myself over to pick you up so that we can go on this quick journey to get to know each other, and because we are kindred spirits in that we have the same passion to get people's lives
I
up and
don't know
running
that
and
I know
healthy.
all my neighbors' names. You know people around the world now here. I mean, it's a different way of living. It's a different mindset. It gets you out of this little isolated bubble I think most of us live in here.
And I'm super excited because I just see the gentleness and yet the determination and such a good balance in Nadia as an athlete, as a personal trainer, as a woman. Just you guys have fun and get to know this lady.
So
and
how
then,
can we get to know you? How can we follow you? I'm told you have lots of social media followings here. Where should we go to follow Nadia here?
Yes, I'm on all social media platforms as at Iron Girl Nadia. My biggest one is, of course, Instagram. And you can find also my coaching business online. My philosophy is movement is play. So the handle is
Movement
actually
is
at
play.
yes,
Okay.
at movement is play.
And she's endorsed by.
Oh, electrolyte.
Yeah, I
Yes.
might as well just put that
Yeah,
there.
let's plug your sponsor here.
It's actually a really great product, and it's a great electrolyte.
So you picked up some
and-
sponsors because of all this, the work that you've done and the profile that you developed here. Good
Well,
for you.
she didn't pick them up; they picked her.
What's the name of the sponsors? Let's give them a shout out here.
This one is electrolytes. It is electrolytes for your hydration. I also have Vital for You, which is a health food company, and they provide supplements and energy pouches, all focused on your health. And I have a few more, and I would just love to always share that. I like to pass along discounts. I love to educate my community about the products as well. That's big thing, is like, because we have so many options out there.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is just getting you inundated with information, and so it helps when you can find someone that you can trust, or if you can find someone who can explain it to you in a very simple way.
Or
So
as a personal connection with it,
Yeah.
not just
Yes.
you didn't just get handed it and say, "What's this?" and
Yes.
talk about it. Yeah.
Right.
So, is this the moment too that I can take to
Please.
plug Caren Ware events with the word Care in it, CAREN events, or Caren Ware, WARE events.com. And the reason I put on a once a month race for Southern California, and I do it with a passion, I make sure that it's a
And they all have
theme.
these crazy themes, so
And
it's
they get
attractive
the-
to everybody, not just the hardcore here.
You get the best bling, you get the best T-shirts and custom medals, and you just pour a passion and heart in it. I've never had anyone, get out of the car and walk over and say, "Oh, I wish I didn't get up this morning." And I just want to, impress the socks off you that activity is fun. But behind it all, too, I'm putting the events on to generate,
Events with a purpose.
proceeds that we can go and help the people that we run into, and not hand them money, like she said, not hand them money, but just get to know them and see, is there an opportunity, and if we help nudge that opportunity, we buy.
Almost like bringing a gift when you go visit somebody here. You bring
I
them a
found
bottle
out
of
that
wine
the
or
village
something.
had been
here.
saving for 4 straight years to buy a motorcycle so that they could get medical supplies and they could get to Kathmandu and back. And it was going to take them another 4 years. So we matched funds and said, okay, now you have the motorcycle.
Did you give them a refrigerator or some other crazy thing? You hauled up the mountain one
I
time?
asked them
or
what's their
something?
biggest need, and they said that there's no refrigeration in this part of the village, and the kids are getting sick because we've got to, keep a
drugs,
chicken
yeah.
or
Right, yeah.
whatever. And so we bought a refrigerator, not a full size, but the kind that you get in a
The dorm
motel.
ones.
Yeah, like dorm one, And then I thought, wait, you guys bought that in Kathmandu. You guys are like 6-7 day trek from
Yeah, you
Kathmandu.
can't just put it on a truck and drive it up there or
And they
something.
go, yeah, we hired a guy. And so if you go digging through my YouTube channel, you're going to see, when I say proceeds benefit, you've got a refrigerator strapped to the back of a man that's willing to carry it across all the swinging bridges and all the way back to their village.
So where is Caren Ware Events? Is it just that on the website? How do we find Caren Ware and all the events that you're doing?
So we also are on Instagram. And so I pretty
But
much
it's
kept...
CarenWareEvents.com.
Yeah, CarenWareEvents.com is the website. Hit running events and boom,
And
they'll
the
come
next one
down
coming
and-
up is what? We're doing this at
Cinco.
the beginning. We're doing this in the middle of April. If somebody hears this later, in
Yes, we
2026.
just did the Rabbit Run, which was just a beautiful community event. I'm just getting flooded with people that, oh my gosh, I just set
For
the spring.
Easter, yeah, that Rabbit
so that
Run.
just happened, and now we're headed towards Cinco de Miles.
Cinco
and
de
because
Miles.
we're a combination family, I raised 5 inner city Hispanic boys and 1 girl, along with my own 2. So there's 8 of us, and they're all college graduates. And so we were playing around, and we said we could do Cinco de Mayo, the American and slash, Latino culture. And
Cinco
so
de Miles.
so
What
we're
natural.
Cinco.
And these are where? At Huntington,
and
this one was at Huntington Beach?
Bolsa State Beach. So you get to run along the beach, but you're also going to get mariachis and a live dancing
You get
cabaret.
like 500 or 1,000 people show up for these
Yeah,
things. It's
yeah.
crazy.
And I'm so grateful. Come out and just have a good time. Saturday, May 2nd.
All right. Well, you got lots of inspiration if you're looking for it. I need some inspiration just to get up off the couch on the weekends here. So maybe this is enough to get you out and moving again here. Thank you so much for joining us, both of us, here on this latest edition of Running into Life. There you have it. One more reason to tune in each and every time. Running into life, uniting through movement, healing through action, with a couple of people that are not just walking the walk, not just talking the talk, but walking the walk, or running the walk. Right here in Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Field Applied Innovation Center.